Hey guys, are you ready for today's August 31st, 2019, 10:02 p.m. Central Time. So I'm about to do a video for my Patreon account, but I gotta get this off my chest. It's absolutely obnoxious, okay, that this is going on. The woke left, okay, as they like to call themselves, or hashtag stay woke on Twitter, and I say this very sincerely, are intellectually challenged. Period. I mean, to the point of in their individual lives, but especially regarding politics. They think things that are happening during Trump's administration are brand new or have no precedent or are just obnoxious or inhumane or whatever, okay? As if stuff has never happened in the past. These woke left were asleep during Obama. This video is going to be full of facts, okay? Facts. And I'm going to touch on a few things that are hot topics, if you will. Now, I actually called AOC intellectually challenged the other day on Twitter. And she's a great example of a ridiculous person that should be ashamed of her behavior 100% and will be in about 20, 30, 40 years from now. She will wonder what the hell she was thinking. And since she is a millennial, they always have that phrase, like when you're young, you're a liberal, but once you grow up, you're a conservative because you're smarter. So I have a feeling she's probably going to be one of those people, or she's just brain damaged enough, she'll stay the way she is. Who knows? Hopefully she doesn't stay in office. But anyway, she should also be embarrassed for the fact that she is known and goes by an acronym. She is a representative in Congress, the United States Congress, and she is known by an acronym. How embarrassing. So anyway, here's some points I'm gonna point out that I've actually talked to people on Twitter with, or quote unquote argued, whatever, which is totally pointless to do. Here you go. Again, hot topics. The Supreme Court, right? Everybody is talking about packing the Supreme Court now. The Democratic presidential nominees specifically, and just random representatives, saying that the court is too political and it's starting to lean conservative. Okay, when in actuality, it's leaning towards the Constitution, but that's a whole other conversation. But I'm going to tell you how that happened, okay? Because there is a reason that Gorsuch and Kavanaugh made it onto the Supreme Court. Here's the facts. During the Obama administration, Harry Reid, who was the majority leader of the Senate in 2013, changed the rules of the Senate. Usually it takes 60 vote threshold for pretty much everything in the Senate. He changed it to a 51 threshold needed for presidential nominees because the Republicans were blocking them, and Obama wasn't able to fill the courts and do a bunch of other stuff, so he changed the rule so that they could bypass the Republicans. Okay, so that happened in 2013. What ended up happening, and I knew what happened down the road, and it always does. If one party does something, the other party does it in a different way, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. And that's where we're headed with this country, and our republic is getting destroyed. What happened with Mitch McConnell, okay, when he got in and was the majority leader, I shouldn't say got in, he's been in Senate for a long time, but when he became the majority leader, he changed the threshold for Supreme Court presidential nominees because Reid in 2013 did not include SCOTUS. So McConnell changed that and added that to the rule, saying that SCOTUS, Supreme Court nominees would be part of that 51 threshold. So it all started with Reid in 2013. So Mitch McConnell was able to get Gorsuch and Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court due to what Harry Reid started in 2013. So do not be blaming the Trump administration for changing anything crazy or doing anything strange, because there was actually a precedent for it. I personally believe Mitch McConnell and Harry Reid, both people, went too far. Period. They went too far. But hey, I'm not in the Senate and I'm one voice, and you know how that goes. The other thing, free press. Trump always attacks the free press, right? Mainstream media is the enemy of the people, blah, blah, blah. And now he's attacking Fox, which is hilarious. and all this trash. Yes, he talks trash about the mainstream media. His administration has yet to go after any mainstream media outlet or journalist, unlike the Obama administration. The Obama administration actually went after AP journalists, Fox journalists, reporters, and all that type of stuff. Literally went after them. They seized people's computers. Okay, they went to their homes and did stuff. And that was under Eric Holder, which, by the way, was the wonderful attorney general that said he was Obama's best buddy. And also the fact that he pled the fifth during Fast and Furious. So obviously the Obama administration had some issues. So as much as Trump talks trash about the free press, okay, and did one thing that upset maybe a handful of people, if it was everybody in the woke that got pissed off about it, you're nuts, that they revoked, what's that dumbass's name that's on CNN? That idiot, Acosta. His pass inside the White House press briefing room was revoked based on something that he had done when he was, he did when Trump was having a presentation. Now, it was reinstated eventually, but that asshole was still allowed on the grounds of the White House. He was just not allowed inside the White House. So it's not like his voice got silenced by any means. So the free press, again, Trump attacks it, but he hasn't actually done anything to it, unlike the Obama administration. This is a huge one. Well, there's a few, I'm going through a lot of huge ones that people bitch about. The economy, okay? It's hilarious that the woke is actually, and Obama himself, is taking credit for the economy, including several Democratic presidential nominees are taking, saying that, thank you, Obama, for the economy. What a fucking joke. Someone said to me recently on Twitter that the reason, because Obama actually put us in so far into debt by trillions. I can't remember the exact number, but it's like $10 trillion or something. He put us further into debt more than any president combined that we've ever had. And people are saying, oh, because he was coming out of a recession and, you know, putting money into the economy and doing all this shit. Well, if that was true, then the economy's GDP would have gone up fairly decent during the Obama administration, and it wasn't. Oh, it's because we were in a recession and he was trying to dig us out of it. Fucking the Bush administration started a war and was funding a war and still didn't meet the amount of money that Obama did. The amount of money that Obama put into our debt was actually a mass majority of it had to do with social programs, and a huge majority of it had to do with Obamacare, which is why that debt actually exists, among many other reasons. He put the reason that the GDP never went up, or I shouldn't say never, went up very slowly, like 1% type shit, was because Obama put in hundreds of thousands of regulations against basically every aspect of our economy. Every time it was a Friday and there was a holiday, for example, it would have been something he would have released yesterday because it's a 3-day weekend. He did that type of shit all the time, and he'd slide it underneath, and nobody would really pay attention or see it. And no one on the planet would be able to take the time to read all these regulations. And the only people who were aware of the regulations are the people who got hit by the regulations. The regulations killed our economy, 100% killed our economy. And what Trump did, on the other hand, people are saying, oh, well, he put, the $1 trillion tax cut, blah, blah, blah. I don't 100% agree with the Trump administration's tax cut exactly the way it was written. Like, for example, the tax cuts for what they consider the middle class are not permanent, okay? They're temporary. They have an expiration date or what you would call a sunset. Unfortunately, and the ones that had to do with corporate and all this stuff are permanent. So there's certain things I didn't appreciate about that bill, but that bill actually did stimulate the economy because of how much money the corporations, even small businesses, were able to write off certain things and actually buy new equipment. Some of these places like construction were using cement mixers from like the early 2000s in the late 1990s. Okay, they were able to write off certain things and get money into their accounts and actually purchase better equipment in order to expand their business. So there was a lot of good things that came from that tax cut. What the thing was is it, quote, added $1 trillion some odd to our debt, because the reason they did it that way was in hopes, again, one of the reasons I didn't like it, was in hopes that it would recoup that amount of revenue once it hit the private sector, okay? So they'd be able to, everybody be spending more money. Corporations would be putting money into their businesses, hiring more people, blah, blah, blah. And they are going to recoup a lot of that money. Are they going to recoup $1 trillion? Probably not. But beside the point. So what ended up happening with the economy, though, is it had nothing to do with the Obama administration. Anyone could have walked into the White House in 2016 and upped the economy up and running by simply doing one thing that Trump did: roll back regulations that were destroying industries, period. All they had to do is roll back all those regulations. And he's been rolling back regulations more than any other president. And he says that all the time. And the reason he's doing that is because there's so many regulations to roll back. I mean, there's presidents before him that didn't have that many regulations to roll back. So he can't really say, 100% definitively that he's he's rolled back more regulations than anybody. Well, he's been able to do that because fucking Obama put in so many regulations. Okay. So he rolled back the regulations. He did the tax cut situation. Because of who he is, the stock market also went booming. Because of the fact he's a businessman, he had certain principles. They knew that he was going to be reliable in certain aspects. Unlike how Hillary Clinton would have been, he was more of a reliable candidate for Wall Street. So on top of all of those things, that is why our GDP has gone up. That is why our economy has been stimulated. That is why we have the economy that we do today. It had nothing to do with Obama. In fact, Obama, when he was considered a recession, he actually kept us in a recession for years. 2 terms worth, okay? Now, next thing that people are bitching about recently, and this will roll into the immigration situation too, is that Trump reprogrammed, redistributed, whatever you want to call it, reappropriated money from FEMA, okay, and then some other fund, and I can't remember what it was, that equaled out to a little over $200 million. It may have been like $270 million. And reprogrammed it to the border. And not for the wall, but for the detention centers, to help out with beds, to help out with food, all this stuff that you think would be a good thing that the woke left would actually want to happen. But people are bitching that he took money from FEMA. FEMA, first of all, a couple things here. There's a precedent for this, but I'll go into that in a second. FEMA's fund that he took this from was a generic fund that FEMA actually has that has over like 2 or 3 or even more $billion sitting in it currently. And we are ending the fiscal year of 2019 here very quickly. The new fiscal year for 2020 starts the end of September. So that minor money that Trump decided to reprogram, we're just going to use that as a term, is almost good timing, because we're talking about 1 month difference. But FEMA has billions of dollars sitting in that account. They have no problem taking care of anything that is going to be going on. FEMA actually came out and said that, okay? Now, let's go to the precedent. Obama in 2014, Democrats had no problem when this happened. He reprogrammed over $400 million in 2014 towards border to actually build those detention centers, by the way, and do many other things. And yet no Democrat had an issue then. No one ever said anything, and the woke left was asleep, and they weren't even aware that that even happened. So there's a precedent for what Trump did. Trump did half, like I said, it might be 270. He did considerably less than what Obama did in 1 year that Trump is doing this year. Now, when it comes to immigration, there's two more points I'm going to go over after immigration, and then I'm going to end this video. The detention facilities that AOC likes to call concentration camps, which is so over-exaggerated, ridiculous, and the fact she even fucking said that, she needs to be slapped in the face. Like, it's amazing, the stupidity that comes out of this, I don't even say woman, because she's a child, okay? She's a child. And when I mean like child as in, oh, she's a millennial, I'm a fucking millennial. I mean, she acts childish. The stupidest shit that comes out of her mouth. Those detention facilities were built under Obama. Those cages were built under Obama. The pictures that circulated in the very beginning of his administration with those kids in cages were pictures from the Obama administration in 2014 at the height of the problem with these unaccompanied minors crossing the border. Everything that's happening at the border right now regarding detention facilities, Obama started. Period. Trump has simply continued what he's had to continue due to the flow, what Obama was doing. Now, the biggest thing that they're trying to change is the Flores Agreement, which says that they can only hold kids for 20 days, okay? That's what's known as the catch and release program that Obama did all the time. Unfortunately, it's continuing under the Trump administration because of the Flores Agreement. So they're trying to change that using agencies, using rule changes. Is that unprecedented? No, it's not unprecedented, because Obama used, for example, Social Security Administration in an attempt to take away people's gun rights that got overturned in Congress when Congress started in 2017. He also used the ATF to create new rules in order to stifle FFLs and change the definitions of certain things. All kinds of stuff that had to do with guns and firearms and all kinds of stuff. He also used, and this was priceless, when Obamacare came in, he didn't want to be in office when this shit went down. And guess what? He wasn't in office for very long once this shit went down, because Obamacare is a goddamn disaster. The premium skyrocketed under Obama because of the fact when they created that federal exchange that barely even exists now, they had this brilliant idea that Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna, all these different insurance companies would go into the states and try and compete with the federal exchange, when in all reality, they were going bankrupt and they were leaving states. In fact, before Trump even got into office, there are certain states that had one choice for healthcare, if that at all. They had been everybody had pulled out of these states, and everybody was left to using the exchange. The federal exchange is awful. The premiums suck. The deductibles are ridiculous. The healthcare is awful. I mean, it's just ridiculous. What Obama did under his administration using the IRS, which should have been completely illegal, by the way, this particular rule change, is he delayed taxes going into effect that would affect the middle class and lower income of the United States, because it was obvious. He knew it was going to happen. He knew it was going to cause a problem, and he sure as hell didn't want to be in office when it happened. So he actually used the IRS to use a rule change to alter what Congress had passed as a law. How that actually went down and stayed that way, I'll tell you how that stayed that way. The Democrats were the ones running the Senate, and the Republicans were in the House, but you need both chambers to change those types of things. So that thing was not going to get overturned. So he used he used Social Security Administration, the ATF, IRS. He used all kinds of different agencies to create all kinds of different rule changes going around Congress all the fucking time. Now, the last thing I'll say, government shutdown, right? Everybody freaked out when Trump had the government shutdown. I did not agree with how Trump handled that government shutdown, to be quite honest with you. But I won't go into that. But it's like, people never heard of a government shutdown. That's not unprecedented either. Okay, there was a government shutdown during the Clinton administration. Oh, big surprise. There was a government shutdown during the Obama administration over Obamacare. Okay? That type of stuff is not unprecedented. Every single thing that has happened under this administration that has been, quote, controversial, I can't even think of one thing. Because there's so much going on, I may be missing something. Go ahead and post below. There has not been anything this administration has not done that does not have a precedent to it. Period. Whether they've used agencies to change rule changes, to bypass Congress, as Obama did massively, and the whole reprogramming funds for the border. Again, huge precedent, 2014 Obama. The nuclear option for SCOTUS was just one step further to get away from the Republic that was started with Harry Reid in 2013. And yet, again, I will say this, as much trash talk as Trump makes about the mainstream media, he has not touched anyone, any reporter or anything like that. He may trash talk him, but he's never had the Attorney General of the United States of America go after any reporter in this country, unlike Obama. So this woke left, all of a sudden, thinks they know everything, when in all actuality, they know nothing. They are so intellectually challenged and numb, I don't even know if numb's the right word, ignorant to the past. And I mean past as in the Obama administration. I'm not even saying beyond the Obama administration. There's a lot of precedent for a lot of things beyond the Obama administration, but I'm just focusing on him. That they're not aware of it. They don't care about it. And it's ridiculous. And it's absurd, absolutely absurd, the shit that comes out of the woke left. So that's my video for this. I can't stand it anymore, how ignorant people are, from random people on Twitter, celebrities on Twitter, senators on Twitter, representatives on Twitter, you fucking name it. Everyone on Twitter, regardless of where you are in the class, okay? Whether you're in the middle class, lower class, you're verified, you're unverified, you're a politician, you're a celebrity, whatever. The woke left is not woke. They are ridiculously stupid. They were asleep until Trump got in office. All of a sudden, they think Trump is the biggest, racist, inhumane, worst president that has ever hit the United States of America. And if they actually took the time to learn the past Just the last administration, not even further back. They should go further back. But if they learn what the last administration did compared to what Trump is doing now, they will see every single thing Trump has done has a precedent to it. Period. I have been running social media accounts since 2012. If my original Are You Ready For It account hadn't gotten deleted by YouTube for stupid, ridiculous reasons and I wasn't targeted, you guys would see many, many thousands. I think there was like 1,400, I shouldn't say thousands, 1,400 videos on that channel that explained everything about the Obama administration. And I know the ins and outs of everything that jackass did. Trust me, you cannot come up against me when it comes to politics. If you come up, and I'm not even a real big Trump humper either. There's certain things I do not like what Trump does or has done, okay? He needs a fucking filter for Twitter, for one. But there's certain things I don't like about him. I'm not a Trump humper by any means. I am a Trump supporter. And the reason I'm a Trump supporter is basically for everything I listed. He has helped the economy. He is attempting to do something at the border, doing something using precedent, and he has not touched anybody in the press. And he's using all the same tools that he has had that every president before him has had as well. There's nothing the Trump administration has done that the Obama administration did not do themselves. And to circulate things like kids in cages and claim that it was under the Trump administration is so absurd and just immoral, in my opinion, to try and blame that on someone who had nothing to do with it. This is Are You Ready For It? Take care, guys. Have a great night.